Happy New Year's, everyone. My name is Adam, also known as Thomas Theorist, and for New Year's this year, I wanted to tell you all about what an amazing year I had in 2022. 2022 was a special year to me because it was the first year where I got to actually meet real Thomas fans in person. I went to 4 meetups this year: the Awdry Extravaganza 2, the Clearwater display, the Tom's Props documentary in Birmingham, and for the first time ever, I went to America and met American Thomas fans in Edison for the Tiger Moth project. Needless to say, I had quite an eventful year, and I met so many amazing Thomas fans, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. So without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 1, the Awdry Extravaganza. Just waiting in the queue, as you can see, waiting to go across. I had made it across from Ireland to Wales, and after a quick stop at Portmadog, or Portmadog, I don't know, I arrived in Taywin on the 22nd of July that Friday. I showed up to the railway station and decided to head into the museum. And who do you think is the first person I meet in the museum? Well, it was none other than the Unlucky Tug. I still find it crazy that the first Thomas fan I ever met in person was the Unlucky Tug. He shook my hand, and I also got to see Peter Sam's funnel, who's also actually really nice. I also went on my first trip along the Tylen Railway. It was pretty cool being pulled along by Edward Thomas, since, you know, Peter Sam is my favourite Thomas character. And yes, I did take full advantage of this. I'm Peter Sam, I'm running this line. I'm Peter Sam, I'm running this line. I'm Peter Sam, I'm running this line. Oh, do-do-da-day. Afterwards, I headed down to the Garden Railway, where we goofed around and played with trains. It was a lot of fun. We also had loads of fun chasing after Insane Edward's Luke model.
You were like, man, we are not pulling a ticket of 10 minutes. It's too late. I mean, we've got a man with an accident. Go on, Luke.
It was great fun. Finally, on the 23rd of July, that Saturday, the Awdry Extravaganza 2 began. Edward Thomas got a huge facelift. Seriously, it was all anyone talked about. We also got to see these fantastic models by Scarloey Railway Adventure. Tim Dunn was around doing interviews for the live stream. There was also an exhibition display which had original Railway series drawings, Awdry's models of Thomas Percy and Toby, countless CGI concepts of Scarloey, and not to mention Scarloey's large-scale prop. There was also Awdry's layout too. And I also met Michael White. For context, back in 2021, I leaked some information that I maybe shouldn't have leaked about Michael's Series 25 episode idea. And so, to make it up to Michael, I made him a little Hunt the Truck, and I gave him a little static red Duchess model, and then I wrapped him up in a newspaper cutting of Heart of Gold as a sort of thank you to him. I also got to drive Rusty, which was pretty cool. There was also loads of displays inside the tent where people set out their own models. And I also got to meet so many wonderful people inside those tents. I also got to meet Daniel Coffey. We even had a pizza together. I also got to meet Sam Wilkinson. And I actually asked about Series 21 episodes, and apparently Case of the Puzzling Parts was going to be one of them, which is something I actually predicted, funnily enough. I also met Caleb Train, Kirsty, Lonely Locomotive, the Irish Boys, and of course Sleepy Henry and her girlfriend. In fact, I even borrowed one of Sleepy Henry's postcards, and I got everyone at the Extravaganza to sign it. So yeah, that was the end of day 1. It's day 2 of the Awdry Extravaganza. I haven't recorded as much talking as I would like to because, you know, I've been having so much fun. But yeah, there's been lots of stuff. Like, for example, I got loads of people to sign this. And it's actually by Sleepy Henry. It was one of her leftover ones, but and I said, oh, I'll go get everyone to sign it, and she was like, oh, okay. So that was really fun. I'm not sure what's going to happen today, but we'll find out. After having my breakfast at Taywin, I got the chance to meet Will, aka Northwestern 04, and his mother. We had a very deep conversation about archetypes. It was fun. Also, shout out to Percy Rebecca, who managed to get footage of me driving Duncan, and shout out to Bluey too for making this funny meme.
You can't drive like that, kid. Jesus, a man knocked down there, he was lucky to come away with his life. That's right.
I also managed to get Mainland Studios driving Duncan. That was cool. And I also bumped into Sleepy Henry again, which was good because in my wisdom, I didn't bring a jacket to Wales, and so Sleepy Henry very kindly offered me hers. And her dog. Come the end of the night, we all got fairly drunk and started singing Locomotion.
Chance now. Come on, baby, to the locomotion.
It was funny, to say the least. Overall, I had a pretty good time in Wales. I made lots of connections and formed new friendships. It's definitely something I want to do again. Oh yeah, I also managed to get the rosy face mask. I always wanted to have a prop from Thomas, so to get Rosie's face mask was pretty damn cool. Yeah, so overall I had a pretty good time in Wales. I'm really happy that it was my first Thomas experience. I highly recommend anyone who wants to have their first interaction with a new fan be at Awdry Extravaganza. Chapter 2. The Clearwater display. So after the amazing time I had at Awdry Extravaganza, I thought, why don't I go to Tugs Trust? Yeah, I know I don't exactly have the best history with Ryan Hagen or Soda Island forums, and I don't exactly like what they're doing with the props. I still wanted to go and experience it for myself, just to see what it's like at one of those events. So on the 20th of August, I drove all the way down from Ireland to Ripley. I pulled up at the car park outside the station, but only then do I realise I've made a terrible mistake. You see, I had actually mixed up my dates. The event was actually happening on the 27th of August, whereas I had driven on the 20th. So I had literally driven for 6 hours and taken a ferry for no reason. Amazingly though, I did actually meet Sam Wilkinson at the coach, and what was even greater was he actually remembered me from the extravaganza. You know, so we had a nice talk, and I actually asked Sam if I could, have a quick look around the coach, and he did say no. And, I tried explaining that, I came from Ireland, and even though he remembered me, he still didn't want me going in. So, whatever. He did say though that I could drive back a week later and then have a look. So, yeah, and that's what I did. I drove back. 1 week later, I drove back to Ripley. I'm not even joking. Yeah, I got to see the Edward prop, Gordon's prop, and the face masks. Boko was on display, albeit in the sunlight. And there was Jack's replicas. That was cool.
Whoa!
Holy moly.
Can you move his eyes? Hello!
I also got to meet Ryan Hagen, and surprisingly, we actually hit it off really well. He's quite interesting. And then of course there was Perspex Henry and Crack Duck, and also Duck had a bug on him. That was funny. There was also a Series 1 crane, which I thought was really cool. And I also met loads of people that I met from Awdry Extravaganza, like Daniel Coffey and Scarloy Railway Adventure, and of course Sam Wilkinson. In fact, I even took a picture with Sam Wilkinson, although I may have snuck an Eric Cartman figure into the photo without him knowing, which I think is quite funny. I did ask Sam a few questions about Thomas, and apparently Emily was going to have the number 13, Dustin was going to have his own short, but it was just never released. They wanted Duke to come back in CGI. Lots of cool stuff, and I do appreciate Sam telling me. I also met some new people, like John Bath and Will Thomas 199, and of course Lead Paint Crisis, who's a pretty cool dude. It's really interesting to see the contrast between Awdry Extravaganza and Tugs Trust. Tugs Trust definitely feels very old man England, while Awdry Extravaganza is definitely much more catered towards a young demographic. I'm not sure if I'd ever go again, but it was nice to at least have that experience. I probably will go again one day, but I don't know. Chapter 3. the Birmingham trip. I'm sure a lot of you were wondering when I was going to get around to this. So yeah, those Series 10 bloopers, am I right? I'm sure you're all dying to know the story of how they got released. So here's how the story goes. So it was about 3 months after the Clearwater display on November 5th. Tom's Props announced on his Twitter that he would be showing a documentary in Birmingham with Thomas crew members such as Mike O'Donnell, the music composer, and writer Simon Spencer from the hit era, all coming to make guest speeches. To say I was excited would be an understatement. So on November 11th, me and 2 close friends of mine crossed all the way over from Ireland to Birmingham. I arrived at the Arts Centre on the 12th. Eventually we head inside. I also got to see the Hector model. I also got to see Sea Swine, who I met at Awdry Extravaganza. And I also met Dante, who was also back at Awdry Extravaganza too. We sat next to each other and kind of goofed around. You know what's kind of... Are you recording?
Yeah, it's fine, you can talk.
Okay, but you know what's funny about this? Like, because this is the recording that everyone like online is going to use, so they're just going to hear my voice constantly talking trash. They're like, who's that annoying person? Will you ever just shut up?
When I upload this, I shall only have you speaking.
They're like trying to watch like the deleted scenes from like Rosie's episode, and they're just like, what's this pink idiot doing?
You just pointing, that's my face.
Eventually the show began. Mike O'Donnell talked about his time with Thomas, and Simon Spencer talked about his time with the hit era, and we all got to ask questions from the audience. So I asked Simon if there was any cancelled stories, and he told me something very interesting. Apparently they wrote the outline for a Thomas special where Thomas gets like put on a ship and is sent over to the mainland, and the plot is him trying to get back to Percy on Sodor, and along the way this foreign character helps him get back to Sodor, and the mainland wouldn't have been England, it would have been like this sort of generic country with Asian inspiration. Now I thought that was pretty cool, but it was nowhere near as cool as what came out next.
Oh, this is good. Oh, go. Hey!
That's going to be in your nightmares. Yeah, will do, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Thomas, you killed
Jesus Christ! Oh!
I think Gordon's face as well.
Yeah.
Now to tell you the story of how these were leaked, I decided to contact the man himself. So, Dante, take it away.
Hello, I am Dante, or as I'm known online as the Lonely Locomotive, and I was part of the reason why the public were able to see those Season 10 bloopers. I met Adam at the Extravaganza, and then met him again at Birmingham. I saw him there, and me, him, and about 30 other people were at the event. Throughout the entire event, about 10 other people had their phones out. This wasn't like some conspiracy that took place, it was quite openly filmed by a lot of people. And so after the event, Adam told me that I should release it so people could see it. I wasn't sure, he said I should, so I said I'd sleep on it. So I went to bed, dreamt that someone else released it instead of me. Then I woke up, and the following day I sent the footage to Adam. He then went on to release it. Tom had a bit of a hissy fit and then disappeared off the face of the earth, and I sat back and watched as people on Twitter enjoyed seeing the wondrous footage of James with no eyes and Henry blowing up. Yeah, so I leave you with the most famous saying the world has ever known. Don't gatekeep. Like, seriously don't. Like, it was a kid show. What were you doing, Tom?
Thanks, Lonely Locomotive. You're the best. So after Dante sent me the clips, I posted this screenshot to Twitter, and everyone went insane, asking if it was real, asking if it was fake, and it also didn't help that some people had actually made fake edits of the thing, so it only added to the confusion. Then I got a DM from Tom's Props. Hi Adam, Mac and Kaleidoscope are aware of the recording taking place and they say it's completely unacceptable behaviour. They're officially looking into the matter, which may be investigated by the police. Please think carefully. And so, of course, I responded in the only proper way I knew, by posting a screen cap of Regular Lawbreaker. Everyone was worried that Tom was going to call the police on me or something, but to be honest, I wasn't that fazed by it. It was very clearly a bluff. I decided to call his bluff and I just uploaded the bloopers to YouTube. And yeah, it was really nice to see everyone's edits and we had a lot of fun in the fandom. It was a very fun day. Chapter 4, The American Dream. So after my trip to Birmingham and my trip to Wales and my 2 trips to Ripley, I was kinda done with Thomas meetups for the year. I was very happy. I think I had my fix. But then something magical happened. Tiger Moth project was announced and it looked amazing. I wanted to see this thing so badly, but I kept telling myself, no, you're not going to see this thing. You're not going all the way to America when you could just watch it on a live stream. In the lead up to November 27, I kept telling myself that. It was literally 12 hours before the show at Edison. I was still in Ireland when I decided to just go to America. So I booked my tickets to America, I drove all the way up to Dublin Airport, then, for the first time ever, I flew all the way from Ireland to America. I arrived at New York Airport, took the train down to Edison, then got a cab from the station to the exhibition hall. I got to meet so many Thomas fans I never thought I would meet before, like Stephen Garcia, Lemmy, Ted, Train King James, Enterprising Engines 93, Annie C, Vincent, Jacob, Rob. Oh my god, it was amazing. After the first showing at Edison, I got a lift back to the hotel where the Tiger Moth project was showing. So I booked the room and I go up to my room, and across the way they're actually having a party for Lemmy.
These two are gonna blow out their candles.
Hey, make a wish.
So I joined in the party.
I think we actually.
And I even had my first Baja Blast.
So this is my first time drinking a baba blah blah blah.
Oh my god. Oh wow.
Oh wow, that's actually really nice. Wow.
Eventually we all went downstairs and the Tiger Moth project premiered, where I got a photo with the legends who made it possible. Eventually the good old days played and it was amazing getting to see it live. Everyone went insane for it. It was great. Then we all headed back to my hotel room. There was like 8 of us and we all hung out till like 2 in the morning. I actually ended up sharing a hotel room with Enterprising Engines, which was pretty cool. If you had told me like 18 hours ago that like I would not be in Ireland and I'd be in America and I'd be like room sharing with Enterprising Engines, like I would have told you you're insane, and yet here I was. It was pretty cool. The next day we woke up, had breakfast, and at breakfast I actually met Carty and Califan, who both interviewed me for Unlikely Fandom, which was really cool. So, you know, when that thing comes out, I may or may not have a 2-second cameo in it. I also seen the real props of Percy and Edward, the amazing Elsbridge display, Sodor Railway Model's amazing Proteus, the Prisoner Diesel. I also got to meet Peter Sam's Funnel again, and I find it so interesting that he went all the way from America to Wales, whereas I went all the way from Ireland to America for Edison. I just find that so funny. I also met Ted, aka Oliver Duck, which is great because I actually voice Duck in his series. So yeah, that was pretty much Edison. Master of the Lemons and a friend of ours dropped us off at the railway station. Me and Lemmy embraced with a hug, and I headed back to Ireland. The funny thing is though, I actually made it back to Ireland before Ted made it back to Canada. And we both found that very funny. I had such a crazy time this year. I met so many incredible Thomas fans I never thought I'd meet before. Like American Thomas fans from the UK, people who worked on the show, behind the scenes stuff, the props. This was all stuff that was completely alien to me. And the fact that I actually got to experience it was so insane. You know, because like I'd never been to a Thomas fan meetup. I'd never even been to America. I'd never even seen a Thomas prop before. So the fact that I got to do this in the span of 1 year was completely insane. And I am so unbelievably grateful to the event organizers and the people who made this possible. You know, it was so insane, and I can't believe I even did it, to be honest. It still feels like a dream, but it's something that I love doing, and I don't know if I'll ever have a year as crazy as this again, but I would like to keep on trying and doing crazy things with my life, because this stuff is the best. This is the reason I live. I live for Thomas fans. They are the best. I love them, and I love you. Thank you all so much for watching, and those bloopers hopefully will be released soon. Goodbye.